I bet you didn't know just how deep the rivalry between Apple and Microsoft goes. Two of the most iconic names in tech. One revolutionized the personal computer, the other redefined what it means to be cool in tech. Apple and Microsoft, two titans that shaped modern computing, but with very different visions, yet somehow, they keep ending up in the same market. Cloud, AI, hardware, enterprise, they're never far apart. But how did these tech giants take such opposite paths and still become direct competitors? As usual, my name is Andy, and let's take a deep dive into a rivalry that started in a garage and grew into a global battle. In the mid-1970s, the world of technology was on the brink of a revolution. Two young teams, each with their own unique vision and ambition, set out to launch companies that would not only define an era, but also change the way people interacted with technology forever. These were not just startups, they were the seeds of a digital transformation that would touch every corner of the globe. In 1976, in a small garage in California, Apple was born. Co-founded by the visionary Steve Jobs and the brilliant engineer Steve Wozniak, Apple's beginnings were humble, but their dreams were anything but small. They wanted to create computers that were not just powerful, but also beautiful and accessible to everyone, not just engineers or hobbyists. Their goal was simple, yet revolutionary. Build beautifully designed computers for the everyday user, no coding required, no technical expertise needed. Apple's early machines, like the Apple I and Apple II, brought computing into homes and schools, making technology feel personal, friendly, and even fun. For the first time, people could imagine a computer as part of their daily lives. Meanwhile, in Albuquerque, New Mexico, another duo was charting a different course. Microsoft, founded by Bill Gates and Paul Allen, had a mission that was just as ambitious but fundamentally different. Instead of building computers, they set out to develop the software that would power them. Their first big success was BASIC, a programming language for early personal computers, followed by the operating system MS-DOS, which would become the backbone of countless machines. Where Apple focused on design, simplicity, and the user experience, Microsoft focused on utility, compatibility, and scale. Apple wanted to delight users with elegance and ease of use, while Microsoft aimed to empower as many people as possible by making their software work on a wide range of hardware. In 1984, Apple made history with the launch of the Macintosh. It was the first mass-market computer with a graphical user interface, making computing even more intuitive and accessible. The Macintosh inspired a generation to see computers as creative tools, not just business machines. Microsoft responded the following year with Windows 1.0. Though its first version was basic and rough around the edges, it laid the foundation for a software platform that would eventually run on millions of computers worldwide, driving the rise of the PC era. These different beginnings and dreams set Apple and Microsoft on paths that would shape not just their own destinies, but the entire technology industry. The contrast in their visions, design versus utility, experience versus scale, continues to influence the world of technology to this day. By the 1990s, Apple and Microsoft were locked in a Cold War. This wasn't a war fought with weapons, but with technology, innovation, and market strategies. Both companies were vying for dominance in the rapidly growing personal computer market. Microsoft had struck licensing deals with countless PC manufacturers, making Windows dominant. Their strategy was simple, yet effective. Get Windows on as many machines as possible. This approach allowed them to capture a massive share of the market, making Windows the go-to operating system for businesses and consumers alike. Apple, on the other hand, refused to license macOS, keeping tight control over its ecosystem. This choice rooted in their philosophy of providing a seamless user experience, but it came at a cost. By not allowing other manufacturers to use macOS, Apple limited its market reach significantly, and it hurt them. In 1997, Apple was weeks away from bankruptcy. The company was struggling to stay afloat, and its future looked bleak. The tech world watched as one of its pioneers teetered on the edge of collapse. Ironically, it was Microsoft that invested $150 million to keep them afloat. This move was not just a lifeline for Apple, but also a strategic decision for Microsoft. By keeping Apple in the game, Microsoft avoided potential antitrust issues and maintained a competitive market. That lifeline gave Steve Jobs just enough time to stage the comeback of a lifetime. Jobs returned to Apple and immediately began to revitalize the company. His vision and leadership were instrumental in turning Apple's fortunes around. With the iMac, iPod, iTunes, and later the iPhone, Apple rebranded itself not just as a tech company, but a cultural icon. These products were not only innovative but also stylish and user-friendly, capturing the imagination of consumers worldwide. Apple became synonymous with creativity and cutting-edge technology. Microsoft, meanwhile, doubled down on Windows and Office, making billions from enterprise customers. Their focus on software solutions for businesses ensured a steady stream of revenue and solidified their position as a leader in the tech industry. Two different visions, two different audiences, but both winning in their own way. Apple and Microsoft each carved out their own niche, appealing to different segments of the market. While Apple focused on design and user experience, Microsoft prioritized functionality and widespread adoption. In the end, both companies emerged as giants in the tech world, each with their own loyal following. To really understand their rivalry, you have to look at the cultures behind each company. Apple is top-down, secretive, and obsessive about design. They build hardware, software, and services as a closed ecosystem, a walled garden that just works. Microsoft is open, modular, and enterprise-focused. They license software, collaborate across platforms, and cater to businesses over individual users. When Apple launches a new product, it's an event. When Microsoft launches something, it's usually a PowerPoint. Apple sells aspiration, Microsoft sells productivity, and that difference in identity is exactly why they attract such different audiences. Despite their distinct philosophies and product ecosystems, Apple and Microsoft keep finding themselves in direct and indirect competition, often in ways that shape the entire tech landscape. Their rivalry isn't just about selling more devices or software, it's about defining the future of technology, and that means they inevitably cross paths in the same high-stakes arenas, even if their strategies couldn't be more different. Take cloud computing, for example. Microsoft Azure has become one of the most dominant cloud platforms on the planet, powering everything from small startups to massive enterprises. Azure's reach extends into nearly every industry, offering a vast array of services, data storage, machine learning, security, and more. Microsoft's cloud ambitions have made it a backbone of the digital world, supporting not just its own products but also those of countless other companies. Apple, on the other hand, doesn't compete head-to-head in the cloud infrastructure market. Instead, it relies heavily on cloud technology to power its own ecosystem. Think iCloud for seamless file syncing, Siri for voice-powered assistance, and a growing suite of services that depend on reliable, secure cloud infrastructure. Apple's focus is on integrating these services so tightly with its hardware that users barely notice the complexity behind the scenes. Then there's artificial intelligence, a new frontier where both companies are staking their claims. Microsoft made a bold multi-billion-dollar investment in OpenAI, integrating ChatGPT into Bing, Word, Teams, and more. This move has transformed Microsoft's products, making them smarter, more conversational, and deeply integrated with generative AI capabilities that are reshaping how people work and search for information. Apple, in contrast, is quietly but steadily developing its own on-device AI. Rather than relying on cloud-based models, Apple prioritizes privacy and efficiency, building tools like Apple Intelligence and enhancing Siri to process more data directly on your device. This approach means user data stays private, and AI features feel seamless and fast, reflecting Apple's core values of security and user experience. In hardware, the competition is just as fierce. Microsoft's Surface laptops are designed to go toe-to-toe with Apple's MacBook lineup, offering sleek designs, powerful performance, and a Windows experience tailored for productivity. In classrooms, offices, and creative studios, users often find themselves choosing between these two tech giants, each promising the best tools for work and play. Apple's M-series chips have upended the industry, challenging long-standing leaders like Intel and AMD. These custom silicon chips deliver impressive speed, battery life, and efficiency, setting new standards for what laptops can do and forcing competitors to rethink their own hardware strategies. Not to be outdone, Microsoft is now exploring its own custom silicon, especially for enterprise and cloud applications. By designing chips tailored to its needs, Microsoft aims to optimize performance, security, and integration across its vast ecosystem, signaling a new era of hardware innovation. Even in the emerging world of mixed reality, the two companies are carving out distinct paths. Apple's Vision Pro is a high-end consumer AR headset, blending digital content with the real world in ways that promise to redefine entertainment, communication, and creativity for everyday users. Meanwhile, Microsoft's HoloLens is built for enterprise and industry, helping professionals visualize data, collaborate remotely, and train in immersive environments. Different approaches, different priorities, but always the same arenas, where Apple and Microsoft continue to shape the future of technology, each in their own way. Today, Apple is seen as cool, consumer-first, and design-obsessed. Microsoft is viewed as reliable, business-focused, and deeply integrated into daily workflows. Both companies are now over $3 trillion in market value. Both continue to grow in some of the same markets but rarely in the same way, and both have managed to thrive without copying each other's blueprint. Apple doesn't do ad-supported models like Microsoft's LinkedIn or Bing. Microsoft doesn't make smartphones or fashion-focused devices like Apple. They understand their strengths and rarely stray too far from them. Looking ahead, the rivalry continues, but now with AI, XR, and custom silicon at the forefront. Microsoft will likely continue to dominate in enterprise tools, AI integration, and cloud platforms. Apple will likely lead in consumer hardware, privacy-focused AI, and seamless ecosystem design. The question isn't whether one will win, it's whether their visions can stay relevant as tech evolves. They're no longer just rivals. They are counterbalances, two philosophies competing in the same world, pushing each other forward. Apple versus Microsoft isn't just a battle of brands, it's a clash of visions. One sells elegance and simplicity, the other, power and possibility. And somehow, they both win. Which side are you on? Let us know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the bell for more deep dives into the business world.